It's bright and early, and I'm trying to knock out some work real quick. A, before the weather turns on us, because it looks like it's going to rain any second. And B, I'm going to be running all over the countryside today. Apparently they take festival season very seriously here in upstate New York. And I've got the Central New York Fiber Festival today, the world's largest flea market in Herkimer today, the Meredith Dairy Festival is today and tomorrow. There's a local trail, the Butternut Valley Alliance is doing an art trail, so they had local artists, both students and professional, hanging their art along the trail, and there's going to be music and food and performances, and it's going to be a whole big thing. So I'm very excited about all of those things, and I don't want to have to choose between any of them, but I'm going to have to, sort of. So I'm going to do 2 of them today and 2 of them tomorrow. And I'm not going to go to church. So those are the choices we make sometimes. I need to get all the stuff that's been building up out of the car. So I'm going to do that. And I'm still not done with the onions, but I've got all the main crop onions in. I still have to do the onions along the peppers and the scallions along the lettuce. But I figure if I do 1 set a day, it'll get done. I also tried trellising the peas. My initial attempt was an abject failure. If you are thinking about using fiberglass rebar for stakes, don't. A, they're not strong enough. They're very flimsy and wobbly. B, they're fiberglass. So I didn't think about that, so I didn't use gloves. And so now I've got little bits of fiberglass stuck in my hand, and it hurts like crazy. So don't use fiberglass rebar. Regular rebar is great if you can afford it. It's expensive now. Everything's expensive now. I had wooden stakes I got when I got my trees from the Soil and Water District, but I don't have enough. So I'm going to have to get some more of those to finish doing the staking. And what else did I do? Oh, I took the celery up, but I didn't get it planted. So I'm going to hook the wagon up to the mower and get the stuff out of the back of the car. I've got the linoleum and some other stuff. And then we're going to get on the road. We're going to Herkimer first. So it was raining buckets at the yard sale. So I wasn't able to even get my phone out to record anything. They had 150 vendors. It was pretty impressive. And it wasn't all just resellers. I scored a really cool walking stick with a dragon head. Nothing practical, of course. So now I am at the Central New York Fiber Fest, which is out in the middle of nowhere in a field at a campground, which, nothing wrong with that. My local spinning group actually has a campsite reserved. But I'm just checking out for the day. So let's go see what they've got. I knocked that out in about 2.5 hours. If you've been to any of the big shows, I tend to go to Maryland Sheep and Wool or Rhinebeck. They have a big fiber festival there in the fall. there were a number of vendors that I recognized from both places, including some of my favorites. I did not buy beads from the bead place, but man, I was tempted. But I did get this beautiful roving that's a mixture of merino and sari silk. Normally I love the color of sari silk, but I don't like working with it. It's too stiff. But she mixes this just 10% sari silk with the merino, and she had some on her wheel, and it was just lovely. This dark gray with the pops of color. So I'm really looking forward to spinning that. I also got this beautiful thing. This is yak and silk, and it's like touching a cloud. It's just wonderful, and the color is so vibrant. It's got these teals and grays and blues, and it's just beautiful. Ooh. And then I got, pardon me, a couple of yarns from one of our favorite yarn vendors, and I replaced my electric spinning wheel with a slightly bigger version, which I'm going to be glad to have. An electric wheel is really nice if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of space, or if your feet don't work the way they're supposed to, or anything like that. And it sits on your tabletop, and it has a little motor, and it spins itself up, and you just go to town with it. I had a little tiny one that I unfortunately lost in the fire right mid-project. But, so this time I went with a slightly bigger one. I can't find my car. And got some extra bobbins for it. So I think my first project is going to be that sari silk because it's so pretty. What else did I get? I got a t-shirt. You guys will see that probably pretty regularly. So, alright, I'm going to go try and find my car. Found it. I just needed to go one more row. I also found out about the New York Fiber Trail, which I'm now looking forward to going and checking all of those out. My local yarn store is on it, so that'll be fun, but she's closed right now for the month of June, I believe, and she'll be open again in July. She's gonna do a big remodel, so that'll be fun to see. But it's nice getting back to my fiber arts after not doing it for a number of years because of overwork and then losing most of my tools last year. So inch by inch, I'm replacing stuff and getting going again. I'm working on one big project that I can't really talk about it because it's a surprise for somebody who might be watching these videos. But, all right, I am gonna get myself home, and hopefully it stayed. I mean, we didn't get rain. We got bucketed on at the yard sale, but while it's very cloudy here, it hasn't rained at all, and everything's drying out. So I'm going to go home and see how much it's dried out and see what garden work I can get done. it's amazing how much more work I can get done when I have the right tools. Having the mower back is making a huge difference. If I had had to haul those 2-yard bags of dirt up that hill by myself, it probably wouldn't have gotten done. But, so I've got the potatoes all hilled, which, for those of you who don't know, when you plant a potato, it makes roots, but it actually grows the new potatoes off the stem. So the more stem you have below dirt, the more potatoes you get. So you want to hill them a couple of times during the growing season. So I've put the garden soil on it for this time. Next time I'll put hay on it, and that should give it enough depth for it to do what it's going to do. I also got a little bit in on the asparagus. Some of them, I guess we didn't plant them deep enough, so the roots were coming out. Whether it was from erosion or poor planting, I'm not sure. But so I put a layer on there to kind of secure them in a little better. And I got those celeries in, because if I didn't do them now, they were going to go the root of the other set I got and turn crispy. So that's all in the ground. Ooh, and the mowing. Oh man, the mowing. I have a clipper bag for my mower, but that grass was so thick and damp that it wouldn't go up the tube. So I just cut it down and let it lay. I do not want to rake it up, so I'm hoping once it dries a little bit, I'll be able to go back over it with the mower. Pardon me, I've got grass in my throat. I'll go back over it with the mower, chop it up a little finer, and since it's drier, hopefully it'll go up the chute better. Because I really want to have those grass clippings either for compost or for mulch. And I've got this big pile in the front yard that I still have to get moved. And I'll put those on the garden beds. Do not bite me. He's demanding, this is Gimli, he's demanding attention and then biting my hand. So it's like, you can't have it both ways, cat. So I think that's it for today. That was I'm going to call that a very successful day. I was worried with all the rain at the yard sale that it was going to be a washout, but by the time I got to the Fiber Festival, it was drying up, and by the time I got home, the sun was out, the birds were singing. It was a beautiful afternoon. So, thank you for coming along. I'm not sure, well, actually, I do know what we're going to do tomorrow. Welcome back to another wet morning on the farm. It's after 9 and it's, well, the sun's trying to come out, but it's still very wet. But I'm gonna take a shot at doing my outdoor adventures for the day. What I have in store today is one of the local alliances, this is the Butternut Valley Alliance, is doing an art trail nearby, which I'm very curious to see. Basically, they have art from school children in the various school districts in the area, as well as professional artists who have set up art installations along a trail in the Texas Schoolhouse State Forest. And it's free to attend, but you had to make reservations, I think, just to space people out. And you walk the trail and see the art. And I'm very curious to check this out. Apparently there's also supposed to be performers and music and things like that. With the weather, I'm not sure how much of that they're going to be able to do, but I'm going to go check it out anyway. Come on along. The weather is not cooperating, but it kind of adds a lovely atmosphere to the exhibits. And the path, like I said, this is just up the road from the house. And I kept meaning to come out here, but if you go on like all trails, there's no trail marked in this area. So having this opportunity to come out was really nice. It's especially interesting to me after hiking in Pennsylvania for 3 years and being used to having to watch every single step. This reminds me more of the trails that I grew up on in Michigan. That it's just flat and, well, not flat because it is rolling, but it's not, I don't have to watch my step, and it's all soft and mossy and covered in pine needles, and it's a very nice, peaceful place to walk. Was a wonderful, almost meditative experience. I'm really glad I came out, even with the weather, Next year I'm going to come earlier because apparently this year there were 6 hand-blown globes hanging in and around the trails, and the first 6 people to find them got to take them home, and that would be wonderful to have. This is a really nice little state park, and I think when I feel the need to get immersed in the woods, I have my own woods, but they're my woods and I have to work them, and I have to be thinking about them instead of just savoring them. And maybe that's a mindset I need to work on. But it's nice to know that an environment like this is nearby. And I'm now a member of the Butternut Valley Alliance, since the Butternut Creek runs right through my property. So it'll be good to build community that way. All right, but I am not done adventuring for the day. Today is also the Meredith Dairy Festival. So, again, I have no idea what impact the weather is going to have on that, but let's go and check it out. It looks like the rain is finally starting to clear off. This is a sweet little event. I got some pickled green beans and a pie for the kids when they come. A dessert. The most important thing I got here, though, that I'm very excited about, is I have made connection with a poultry processor. For about $45, they'll come out and do your chickens for you on site. And if you have them done on site, you can sell, and they don't have to be USDA inspected, at least in the state of New York. At least that's what this gentleman was telling me. And it does line up with what I've heard from a couple of other homesteaders. So I'm very excited. I know how to process chickens, but to do it myself is going to involve a certain investment in equipment. Like I need, ow, I just whacked myself in the nose with the beans. Oh, ow. Anyway, I would need to invest in all the butchering equipment. The chicken plucker is like $300. And in the long run, it may be worth it to make that investment, but it may also be energy that I just don't have to invest to do it myself, because it's not just the money investment, it's the time of doing the actual butchering and processing. And since I'm on my own doing it, that takes a lot longer. So I may do a batch of fall birds and hire this company to come out and process them for me. I also have not done the math of how much chicken do I eat in a week. So how much do I need to raise in a year and put in the freezer, or can, whichever way I decide to go. But so that's a great resource to have. And I'm going to put that in my notebook so that I have it, because I'm going to forget who it was I talked to and where they are. So the weather's clearing off some, but I'm still going to head out and head back to the farm. The kids are going to be getting on their way to drive up here in the next hour or so. So I should go home and get some work done there to get ready for them to come. If I don't talk to you later, I hope you have a great weekend. And I hope you'll come back to see what the kids and I get up to next. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.